What's up, everyone? Welcome to this day in Philly sports history for May 22nd, 2025. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a Thursday edition of the podcast. A rainy, dreary Thursday. However, the party lives on for another year. The Tush Push will not be banned next year. It is staying. Needed 24 votes. It got 22. So shout out to the Ravens, Browns, Lions, Jaguars, Dolphins, Patriots, Saints, Jets, and Titans for doing the right thing and not being jealous, not being haters, not being whatever you want to call them, and understanding that this play is not about safety. It's not about aesthetics. It's about learning how to stop it. You don't want the Eagles to do it? Stop it. But what an interesting day that must have been. I believe they're out in Minnesota, but Jeffrey Lurie brought in Jason Kelce as his special guest tag team partner. And if you're a WWE fan, I picture it being like everybody down at the ring. And Jeffrey Lurie was like, I'm bringing out my special tag team partner, my mystery tag team partner. You wait. And all of a sudden you hear the glass shatter, and he comes walking out like Stone Cold, and it just goes on a soliloquy. But in all seriousness, it was a smart move because he's been cited a lot of times as, oh, well, he retired because he didn't want to do the Tush Push. He made a comment about it's a grueling play or something, and they twisted his words to make it seem like that's part of why he retired. Came out, set the record straight, and it was enough to sway at least two other teams to vote the Eagles' way. But again, I mean, the whole thing is dumb. And we'll quickly recap yesterday's question of the day because they said, if it is banned, what kind of impact would it have? 63% of you said it would be a slight, and I agree with that. Obviously, it would impact the Eagles in some way, but I don't think it's going to be it would have been a major play or a major impact one way or the other, because we've seen teams started to stop it. The Eagles have started to add some wrinkles off of it and things like that. It's just the whole thing just seemed petty and childish, basically. Like, you can't stop it. Kudos to Mike Vrabel, who basically said, well, Lamar Jackson runs pretty fast. We should ban that. And he made a couple other comparisons, and it's the truth. Just because a team does something well does not mean you should get rid of it. Now, the Eagles, to their credit, trolled the entire league. As soon as it was announced, had it on their social media pages. Push on. They put a 26-minute video of nothing but tush pushes on their YouTube page. I don't know if it was like every single instance of a tush push or what. Pretty funny. All kinds of different memes and things on their Twitter. But I mean, I get celebrating it because it's a big deal, but it may be a little bit over the top. But hey, it doesn't matter. It stays. There was no legitimate reason for it to be banned. Apparently, because of the way the rules are written. And I know there's some people out there in my network that will argue it's against the rules. And I'm not here to debate that. But if the referees allow it, then it's part of the rules. It's a legal play. Maybe the rules do need to be changed, and that's a larger issue. But to ban this particular play because of player safety, nobody got hurt. So I know some people were like, well, if people are getting hurt, they should. They're all about player safety. And that is 100% true, but nobody has gotten hurt. It's just one of those things. So the Tush Push lives on. Now is your chance to go to Philly Goat, celebrate by buying your Tush Push gear. They have a whole collection. The Tecmo Bowl t-shirt, cannot wait to buy it. They have Tush Push slides. And for the ladies out there, Tush Push shorts and sweats. Go check out, celebrate the fact that the Tush Push lives on. Go to phillygoat.com. Use that promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off your order. That's phillygoat.com. Promo code 10% or promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% and celebrate the fact that the Tush Push is in. And I do find it ironic that the final vote was 22-10, which happened to be the score of the playoff game against the Packers. Just kind of one of those things. The karma, I guess they can say, gets the best of you. They did vote on some other things for the at these meetings. I like the overtime rule. Both teams now will get the ball in overtime with a chance to, I guess, continue play, which I like because you got to let the things play out. So good on the NFL owners for that one. The NFL players will be allowed to play in the Olympics when flag football comes, which I believe is 2028. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 2028, which is pretty cool. The Eagles will be on Hard Knocks in season. They're doing a NFC East in season, so that should be interesting. Eagles have never been on Hard Knocks and would have loved to have been behind the scenes last year with all of the drama and things like that. But lots going on with the Eagles. But the big story is, thanks to our old pal and mystery tag team partner, Jason Kelsey, the Tush Push lives to fight another year. And again, I mean, celebrate, be happy, buy the gear from Philly Goat. And I think, to me, too, this is uncharted territory for the Eagles, and I think we're not used to being in a position like this where we're the kings of the NFL and everybody's trying to find ways to knock us down a peg. So gloat, celebrate, be happy, be excited, because you know what? That's that new Philly attitude and mindset that I talk about all the time. Celebrate, gloat, talk some shit on some people. Let it go. Come on. Like I said, let's embrace the fact that the Eagles are indeed the gold standard of the NFL. So celebrate away. Go to Philly Goat. Get the Tush Push gear. Go Birds. All right, let's do some quick housekeeping. Be sure to follow me on social media, Jimbo_Mont on Twitter and TikTok. On Instagram, at Philly Jimbo. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jimbo_Mont, and continue to spread the word. And if you are listening to this on Apple or Spotify, leave a review. Give it a 5-star or 6 stars, 4 stars, how many ever stars there are. All that stuff helps us with the algorithm and become more visible as we go. So take 2 minutes, leave a quick review, leave a quick rating, comment, all that other good stuff. It all helps the algorithm, which I still don't understand, but everybody tells me it helps it. So help a brother out. Yesterday, I mentioned High Hopes by Harry Callis was our song on the Summertime Philly Sports playlist, and I mentioned that the original was by Frank Sinatra. There is another Philly sports tied to the Frank Sinatra version. In Rocky Balboa, when he comes out to fight, I forget the guy's name now, but it's Tarver. He comes out to High Hopes by Rocky and Jim Lampley and Max Kellerman and all those guys talk about, oh, he doesn't have any hopes or whatever. So there is a Philly tie to that one as well. Knicks lost yesterday. They choked. Absolutely choked, and I cannot be happier. All is right in the world. The Tush Push lives. The Knicks choked against the Pacers. The more things change, the more they stay the same. All right, I've been mentioning our new sponsor, Lotwin. Go to lotwin.com, Lotwin. They have custom-made hype chains. These things are phenomenal. Send him over your design. Get your however you want it. He'll work with you. These things are amazing. They're great for like fantasy football, little league teams. I mentioned swim teams, basketball, whatever you got going on. These things are great. Great way to get kids and adults alike pumped up and ready to go. Get them for your high school teams, whatever you need. They can do them custom made. Use the promo code CCCPOD for 10% off of your order. That's lotwin.com. Promo code CCCPOD for 10% off of your order. These things are amazing. You can get your face, buy your wife an anniversary present, and put her face on a hype chain. Whatever you got, Lotwin's got you covered with that. Union move on to the quarterfinals in the U.S. Open Cup with a 4-1 win over the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. I watched the first half of this game. It was on Paramount Plus, and they were shorthanded, and they dominated this team the way they should have. The Union are actually a pretty good team. So if you've been thinking about getting into soccer, might not be a bad time to flip on the Union. They're in first place in the Eastern Conference Final, but they're moving on to the quarterfinals. I guess they reseed everything once I don't know if they just shuffle it and randomly, if there's a rhyme or reason to it, but the draw for the quarterfinals will be announced today. And then, of course, they have that big game against Miami on Saturday. Messi, last I heard, Messi is going to play in that game. Likely will be a sub. So looking forward to taking the kids down to that as well. Thank you, Penn Medicine, for the tickets for that. But the Union move on in the U.S. Open Cup 4-1 over the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Find out who their opponent will be in the quarterfinals today. I was looking at some of the teams remaining. It looks like a ton of MLS teams. So it would be, if nothing else, just good experience for the Union to play in this. I did not catch any of the Phillies game last night. I've told you my state testing run is over. I slept in today. I'm exhausted. It's been a long month or so. But if you didn't see it, the Phillies did win once again. That's 3 in a row over the Rockies. They take that series 9-5. And we had a JT Realmuto sighting. JT went 3 for 5 with a double homer and 3 RBI. Trey and Bryce Harper both also hit home runs. Taijuan Walker was solid once again. Went 5 innings. They had him on a pitch count, but he was pretty solid, did what he needed to do. His ERA is under 3, so completely different pitcher than what he was last year. They look for the sweep this afternoon before going out to, I believe it's I don't know if they're in Sacramento, Santa Clara, somewhere out in Central California is where the A's are playing. So weekend series against the A's, but good win for the Phils. They look for the sweep today. Ranger Suarez going on the mound. And that begs the question, and that's going to be today's question of the day. The Phillies are back. They have the best record in the National League, second best record in Major League Baseball, and they're just now starting to play their best baseball. I'm all in on the Phillies, but that's today's question of the day. We're going to do a modified vibe check today. Are you back in on the Phillies? 267-495-8531. That'll get you into the Back to the Future voice and text line. Get that. Anything else Philly sports related off your chest. But I am in. Yes, they're playing some crappy teams right now. However, sometimes you need those teams on your schedule to get things going and get things right. And the Phillies certainly have taken advantage of getting things right against these teams. And listen, Alabama throws a cupcake on there every now and then to get ready for SEC play. So nothing wrong with the Phillies playing a few cupcakes to get it going. The A's are a little bit of a step up from the Rockies, who essentially are a low AAA team, but that's all right because they're getting the things going, they're getting timing and all that. So Phillies, Rockies this afternoon as they look for the sweep. But I'm in. But let me know what your thoughts are. Are you back in on the Phillies, or are you just waiting until October? I know there's a lot of people that are still saying, wake me up in October. But I'm in, man. This team is starting to become fun to watch. They're doing all of the things that we complained over the past 3 or 4 years that they don't do. They're fun, man. They're fun. You're missing out if you're not watching. So are you in on the Phillies is today's question of the day. 267-495-8531. That's the Back to the Future voice and text line. But we're back, baby. We're back. Andrew Painter pitched again last night up in Lehigh Valley. Went 4 innings, gave up 3 hits, and earned run, and struck out 7. Seems like things are progressing very, very nicely for Andrew Painter, who should be up here sometime the end of June or so. I don't know if they're ever going to move up that timeline. Dombrowski's been very clear that that's what the expectation is, but he's been solid in 3. I think he's got 3 or 4 starts, and he's been solid in each of them. So won't be long now until we see the debut of Andrew Painter. And then a little side note, I have to mention this. Big part of that 2022 run started the spark against the Cardinals in the 9th inning. That rally was a huge contributor in the Braves series in the NLDS. Gene Segura has hung up his cleats, retired after 12 seasons in the majors, came to the Phillies in 2019, and as I said, was a huge part of that postseason run in 2022. So Gene Segura, great career. Enjoy your retirement. Be sure to check out my boys over at the Clashing Conferences podcast. Lots of great things happening on their Sports Fan Network. We are a part of their Sports Fan Network. Things have been going great. Very happy and pleased. Meeting all kinds of great people. You can too. So go to clashingconferences.com. See what they have to offer. How you can get involved. Get your voice heard. And if you are in need of media services as well, Steven's got you covered with that. All the information you need is on theclashingconferences.com. So go check them out. See how you can get involved. And it's Thursday, so new podcast drops today. Another one will drop tomorrow. But great guys, great people from around the country. So go check them out and see how you can get involved with them. All right. Yesterday's trivia question. I asked you, who's the all-time leader in home runs hit by a Phillies pitcher? There are two of them, and they're both tied with 11 home runs each, and that is one Rick Wise and Larry Christensen. So thank you for participating in the trivia question of the day. Rick Wise had 6 of them in the 1971 season, which just is incredible. He hit 2 in a game in which he pitched a no-hitter. So it just goes to show you what kind of player Rick Wise was. But Larry Christensen and Rick Wise are the Phillies' all-time leaders in home runs hit by a pitcher. We'll have another trivia question later. And the Discord channel is live. Go to the description. It's the first link there. That's the invitation. Come over. Let's talk some trash. Let's have some good conversations. We can laugh at all the other NFL teams who tried to ban the Tush Push and were unsuccessful. Good times happening over there. So come to the Discord channel. The invitation is right there in the description. All right. May 21st. Or I'm sorry. Today's May 22nd. Don't mind me. May 22nd, I got a couple different events, 3 different teams this year, some big in Philly sports history. But first, we're going to go back to 1952. And on this day in 1952, the Phillies beat the Pirates 6-0 at Shibe Park. Curt Simmons pitched a complete game 3-hitter, struck out 8, and helped his own cause with a 3-run inside the park home run. And it was the last time a Phillies pitcher hit an inside the park home run. Likely will be the last, but Curt Simmons did it all today in the Phillies 6-0 win over the Pirates at Shibe Park with a complete game 3-hitter and a 3-run inside the park home run. And I always mention I look at the old newspapers and things like that when I'm doing the research. It's amazing to me how much coverage horse racing got in the papers. And I'm not talking like the Kentucky Derby, Preakness, Belmont Stakes. I'm talking just Garden State Park, Philly Park, all of the local racetracks. There's pages and pages. There literally is more pages dedicated to horse racing than there is the actual Phillies on this day. So just wanted to point that out, that our grandfathers definitely were spending a lot of time at the track apparently. All right, and then we're going to go to 1963, and 1 year after the Warriors left town to go to San Francisco, the NBA approved the move of the Syracuse Nationals to Philadelphia. Irv Kozlov and Ike Richmond had purchased the team earlier that spring. They ran then a naming contest, and the winning name was the Philadelphia 76ers. But the Nationals started in 1946 in the National Basketball League, which ended up being one of the leagues that merged to form the current NBA. They did win the championship in 1955, and then a few years after moving to Philly, after acquiring Wilt Chamberlain, the Sixers did win their first championship in Philly in 1966-67. But on this day in 1963, the Syracuse Nationals moved to Philly and then became the Philadelphia 76ers. Your team, your town, your Sixers. And then fast forward all the way to 2004, and 2 days after forcing Game 7 with a 5-4 overtime win out down at the Spectrum, or I guess it was the Wells Fargo Center, the Flyers went to Tampa Bay and lost a hard-fought 2-1 game in Game 7 to be eliminated from the playoffs. Kim Janssen scored the only goal for the Flyers. Robert Esch was very, very solid. This was a physical, hard-fought game. He had 30 saves, but Flyers season ended on this day in Game 7 in 2004 against the Tampa Bay Lightning, who would go on to win the Stanley Cup that year. So I guess if you're going to lose, you might as well bow out to the champions. All right, today's trivia question. We're going to go Sixers here. And obviously the Sixers moved to the Nationals moved to Philadelphia in 1963, became the 76ers. The 1963 NBA draft was still in the under the Syracuse name. So the following year, 1964, who was the Sixers' first ever draft pick in Philadelphia? I'll give you a hint here. He was an all-star that year, did play on that championship team, but wasn't really a great player, so to speak. But who is the first ever draft pick of the Philadelphia 76ers? The Sixers draft is coming up here in a few weeks. Looking forward to that. But that is today's trivia question. Hit me up on social media. Hit me up on the Discord channel, wherever you can get it, and give me the answer to today's trivia question. All right, finally today, our Philly Sports Summer Playlist Song of the Day, sticking with the Sixers theme. I-76 by G Love and Special Sauce. This song came out in 1997, and if you've heard this song before or are familiar with it, you know it's an ode to a day in the life of a Sixers fan in Philadelphia. It runs through some of the greatest Sixers of all time, Moses, Mo Cheeks, even shouts out Big Shot, the old mascot, Bobby Jones, Dr. J, Darryl Dawkins, Barkley, Andrew Toney. There's a Rocky reference. Larry Bird gets shouted out in this one. But that is today's summer playlist song of the day, I-76 by G Love and Special Sauce. Got a couple random stories about this song too. First, if you watch the video, and I've never had anything like this happen to me before in my life. You watch something, and as I'm watching, I'm like, I kind of remember that. And not in the sense that I've watched the music video before, in the sense like I was there. I started jogging my memory, and maybe this happens when you get older. I don't know. But I'm like, wait a minute. I was there when they shot this after a Sixers game, and I kind of started thinking back, and I kind of worked. It was sort of an internship, sort of like independent contracting work with one of my fraternity brothers at Philly 57, the old Philly 57. The studios were down by, I believe, where the Whole Foods is now in Fairmount, and I worked it. So I was on the court when if you watch the video, when they're on the Sixers court, they did it after the game. There was like a special invitation for a certain amount of fans, whatever. We were there. I was the sound guy, and I remember just being there and them recording. Completely was out of my mind that I was there until I started watching the video again. So I was there for the recording of parts of this video. And then just a random tidbit that I don't even know if anybody cares, but you know how people say, oh, I've seen Dave Matthews this many times. I've seen this guy this many times, blah, 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 blah. I have the distinction of the concert, or the person I've seen in concert the most, and that's including the local reggae band I follow down in Wilmington all the time. The person I've seen in concert the most is G Love. Seems like no matter what concert I go to, whether it's country, rock, whatever, I believe he might have even opened up for Wu-Tang when I went to see Wu-Tang and Rage Against the Machine. But every single concert, he is the opening act, like the opener. I guess because he still lives in the area, but I've seen G Love more times in concert than anybody else, and that's at Camden, that's at the Mann Center. So there's a little just nugget for that, and I guess you could call me a G Love super fan. But I do like G Love. In all seriousness, I do like G Love. But I-76, I've ran it enough about G Love. But I-76, G Love, and the Special Sauce is today's Philly Sports Summer Playlist song. Can't believe that I actually completely forgot I was there for the filming of the video. Just bizarre to me. And then, of course, I do have a bonus song for you today. And similar genre, I guess you could say. Maybe not the same genre, but similar vibes. We're going to go with the Roots here, and one of my all-time favorite Roots songs, The Seed 2.0. That is our bonus track. Roots, love them. I've seen them quite a few times too, all the years, 4th of July down on the Parkway. So give some Philly love on the Philly Sports playlist today. I-76G Love is our song, and our bonus song is The Seed 2.0 by The Roots, who are now on the Tonight Show band. On this day in 2004, Flyers lose Game 7 to the Tampa Bay Lightning 2-1 in an epic, hard-fought series. The Lightning would go on to win the Stanley Cup that year. In 1963, the NBA approved the move of the Syracuse Nationals to the Philadelphia area, and they would become the Philadelphia 76ers. And in 1952, Phils beat the Pirates 6-0 at Shibe Park. Curt Simmons with a complete game. Also, a 3-run inside the park home run, becoming the last pitcher to hit an inside the park home run for the Phillies. Likely will be the last. Today's trivia question: who's the Sixers' first ever draft pick since when they moved to Philadelphia? Hit me up wherever you can and go to the Discord, accept the invitation, and go. We'll have more on the Phillies tomorrow as they look for the sweep of the Rockies. Still will take your Tush Push comments and trash talking as the Tush Push lives to fight another day. This has been This Day in Philly Sports History for May 22nd, 2025. My name's Jim Montgomery. Go have yourselves a Thursday, and until next time, push on.